Hello everyone, welcome to Deploy with Garrison Season 4, Episode 8. I'm your host Chris. Joining me as always, we have Alan. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. Coming off of celebrating our independence from your
Tyranny.
motherland there.
You will
Tyranny,
never be independent of my tyranny. You personally.
Wow. Sure. Personally, but as far as, English kings, we have independence from English kings at least.
Yeah. Yeah, we missed Canada Day as well. Evie was a little bit sad. It's obviously the first time she's not made a big deal of Canada Day. So, but yeah, it was an interesting week last week. So, happy to move forwards now. You guys are hangovers should all be cleared. You can focus on what's important, and that's talking about Star Wars Legion with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So yeah, we have hopefully an interesting little show planned for you guys. We're going to do our usual officer's mess. I played the game this time. Alan tagged me in after his game last time, but it's my turn now. So obviously we have some more Wookiee action for you. And then for a main topic, I thought we could talk about combat skews. Not necessarily do a unit ranking, tier list, anything like that, but just talk about combat-based lists in general. Obviously, I've been playing Wookiees a lot. I feel like Riot Control squads might bring that archetype back into Empire with dewbacks and riots and stuff like that. And the list that I mentioned when we were interviewing Will about me having a look at the experimental droids and doing the experimental Magna Guard. So yeah, I kind of thought we could just have an overview conversation about that, maybe revisit the topic in a little while after you've had some more games actually with the Riot Troopers rather than just against them.
Yeah.
And I can try this this experimental droid list, I think. So yeah. That's kind of my plan for today.
Let's get started.
So before we jump too far in, I did want to just basically thank all the patrons. We did our Patreon giveaway for June, and that went to Ben. So he should be receiving a really useful box with the Ferris sheet and the magnets ready to put an army into. Speaking of which, I did get fed up of my Fluttercraft breaking the tails on them. Kept breaking in the foam. Yeah. So I finally magnetized the Wookiees as well. I just gave up and just magnetized all of that. So that's done now.
Oops, all magnets.
Yep. Oops, all magnets indeed. But yeah, that's all fine. And then we did have our giveaway for the episode 6 for the Jyn Erso that I found. So that was won by Nicholas. So thank you for leaving your comment and watching, and the nice feedback he gave me. It was great. He said our interview was the most enjoyable to watch with Will. So, well done.
Hey, we're winning.
Virtual high five. But yeah, he said that he's most excited to use door gunners and spotter uplink on his Gar-Lat LE, which we didn't think of. We missed that spotter on the Lat being immune to melee.
Yeah. If they can't be in melee, the spotter uplink it will never trigger, and then they're always doing sharpshooter or something. So seems pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll have to definitely think about putting that on my Imperial one.
Oh man, look at you with that seamless transition into our officer's mess. So do you want to start on that one?
Oh, I didn't get a game in yet. My game is scheduled for tomorrow because with the holiday and everything else, just didn't have time. But tomorrow I've got my game, and we'll talk about my list in the main topic. But
yeah, you want a main topic
real hard at Lats. Yeah, well, I'm looking at Lats and Riot Squad. So the only thing I could say for my my officer's mess is that I've been assembling my second unit of Riot Squad here, and we're gonna get them going.
Yeah, I did want to buy some, and then I'm like, no, stop. I need to get one army done at a time. So I've been putting off finishing the bus for my Shadow Collective, and then I'm like, I really want to get this experimental droid list done, and so many things that I want to work on. So I'm not buying any rate control, and I know it's not Legion, but I have bought a bunch of Shatterpoint stuff. So I need to start working on a Shatterpoint table. Yeah, it's been busy.
They do work well, the two scales. Like, even though Shatterpoint is a little bit larger scale, like the Legion minis don't feel completely alien on them, being at the smaller scale. Like, I use the boxes all the time as just scatter.
Yeah,
like the Shatterpoint boxes that we have.
Yeah,
that works fine.
Well, I've got a plan. I just need to kind of find which 3x3 mat I want to use so I can pick what color scheme I want to do with buildings. I'm going to do them relatively out of the box kind of generic table because I want to be able to use it to run demos with. And then I have a plan for, I found one of the mats from 2024 that they were giving out, the Scarif. It feels somewhere between a Scarif mat, but then I'm sure the wreckage on it is a Republic era Lat or Arcwing.
Clone Wars era.
Yeah. So yeah, but I need to kind of figure out what I want to do with that. I think I'm going to do just a bunch of aquarium plants because it's quite a forested mat, but with beachfront. So I'm going to kind of do some foliage and then maybe some ruined vehicles and kind of keep it pretty low and just have high area terrain from like the jungle stuff. So we'll see.
Sure.
Figure out if I can actually make trees high enough to block like ATST line of sights.
Right.
That's kind of my only plan for Legion building. It's still a lot, just Shadow Collective, experimental droids, rebels, Imperials, Gar plans, all of it.
All of it.
Yeah, all of it. It's all good. But no, I did play a game with the Wookiees, which was what kind of pushed me over the edge to magnetize when I got home. I got to test out the 20-point reduction from Yoda. So I had 20 points to play with effectively, which ended up being improvised orders onto Yoda, which in a list that is 2 HQs, 1, 2, 3, there's 5 special forces and 3 supports. It's experimental orders kind of comes in relatively solid because generally you can kind of know what you want and you have some orders on the table, right? So yeah. Sorry, improvised orders. What experimental orders? That's not even a card. Improvised orders.
Experimental droids. Improvised orders.
So that means Yoda,
as opposed to improvised droids.
Yeah. Yoda is currently running Force Reflexes, Force Barrier, and improvised orders. I've got a dash. I think we discussed this briefly in our Discord chat about Force Barrier. I don't know if I'm getting the value out of it. So I'm back and forth on changing it.
With him not being near the other people.
Yeah, I actually, this game, I got to trigger it a couple of times, but I still feel like I might prefer putting bursts of speed onto him.
Yeah, just giving him the chance to just go across the table, just run it out. Yeah.
Oh, and I have a couple of ways to mitigate the immobilized token, right? I can play the speed 1, the 1 pip, size matters not, where I bump up to speed 3 and then we'll come back down to speed 2, which is still an increase for Yoda.
Right.
So I can have a speed 3 turn and a speed 2 turn.
Sure.
Which is still faster than speed 1 all the time. Or I can play the size matters sometimes because Yoda can't move, but Yoda can't move anyway. So it doesn't do anything because Chewbacca moves and then Yoda teleports. So
right. Or you just use it as a, like, I'm leaving now. You just use it to eject, right?
Yeah. Never eject.
Then if you're behind it.
Once he's in, he's in. Once he's in, he's all the way in.
Yeah, okay.
No, I know.
Obviously, I'm wrong. Silly suggestion.
No, I know what you mean. So that's my Yoda build at the moment. But Force Barrier is a question mark. Reflexes is stapled on because he's only got 5 wounds. Just keep getting that dodge token. It's fine. Chewbacca has got Tenacity and Protector. Comes in invaluable. Helps a lot. The Wookiees are all the same, so it is a bowcaster unit of Kashyyyk Defenders, which is a range unit. It has offensive push targeting scopes, so 113 points. I low rolled back to normal service on this unit.
Oh no!
So sad. I'll get to the game in a minute, but I was very sad. Then I have my Noble Fighters with Bowcaster, just a clean 100 points, no other upgrades. And then 3 units of Wookiee Warrior Noble Fighters with Battle Shields at 95 points each. Again, no other upgrades. Okay. And then 3 Fluttercraft Attack Craft with NASP Gunners and Strike and Fade.
Yeah, I'm very curious as how Strike and Fade did for you.
It was very good. I was suboptimal.
Oh.
I got greedy, but we'll get there.
Okay.
I played against a really interesting. I don't know if it was Invasion Force or not. Can you have Kalanian Invasion? I don't think you can.
I think so.
It was
maybe
it was Grievous Kalani. Then 5 units of B1s with snipers, 2 AATs, and 2 droidicas. So I think it was 11 acts.
No, you cannot have.
Yeah, so it was just standard invasion. Then. It wasn't invasion; it was standard, but still double AAT. So he actually had field commander as well on there. That's fine.
Double AAT and Grievous and Kalani.
Yeah. And two droidicas and 5 units of snipers.
Where's the beef? Right there. All of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was sitting across from it. I kind of, okay, right. I see how this can win a lot of games. And I was like,
sure.
It felt really bad. Because we flipped. I was first player. I was boy player. So I had to go first.
Yeah.
And what was it? It was he must have been boy, and because it was my secondary. I had bunker. God damn it! I can't remember anything anymore. It was gathering the intel, the surface scan, where you have the scanners, and they've got to be outside your deployment zone, and then you score a point. And it just kind of ticks up one every turn unless you've got a scanner within range of the scanner. That's the one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was mine. And then we were on, damn it, Closer Pocket. I was like, nope, we're not playing Closer Pocket.
Not against 2 tanks and Grievous and 2 droidicas? Yeah, I don't think so.
No, we're not playing Closer Pocket. Well, I want to bunch up. But if that's a ball that can just sit over the 2 objectives, I can't do anything, right?
Yeah.
So I needed to kind of spread him out. And then we ended up, he had advanced intel for his advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the extra, the 3 evade tokens, the cunning deployment.
Okay. Cunning deployment, yep.
And I was like, those are both bad because he's got 2 tanks with barrage and high velocity. So my dodge tokens don't do anything. And he has a pass. But we flipped from cunning deployment from closer pocket to I think I put down breakthrough, and then
sure.
And then he picked one of his missions, which was closer pocket.
Oh no!
So then I had to go back again and change it again.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, because then he had an 11 act list playing into my. Bad. He had 11 activations playing into my 10, and I was going first because he played standing orders, and I played luminous beings.
Yep.
And then he had a pass
with advanced intel.
Yeah. So I was like, but effectively, I was just like, well, my plan's now set in stone anyway. Because I was I didn't want to focus the droidicas because they've got shields. And my list has got high quality, low volume shots. Like you just shoot something with a bowcaster, do 1 or 2 wounds. Like it's not fancy. But I can't get through. I can't waste those bowcaster shots onto shields, basically.
Right.
I don't want to try and do 9 wounds through red dice into these tanks. So my targets are then.
What are we left with?
Grievous or B1s. I was like, well, if I play aggressively and try and persecute his B1s, he can't then. He can't blow up my bunkers, right? I just, as long as I don't let him get B1s onto mine and I'm pushing onto his, then it should be okay. So I used my fluttercraft to shoot at B1s, which felt great, like maximal value. The first one, I brought 1 in, took my shot, and then strike and fade back out. So I'm like at extreme range. So the only things that it could touch me would have been his tanks when they move on. But obviously, his tanks were coming on after I'd done all my activations anyway.
As tanks do.
Yeah. And I kind of just moved everything on relatively evenly spread across the middle of the table. I can't remember I posted the images in the Discord or not, but it was kind of just a pretty it was very difficult. The turn 1 felt real bad because again, I didn't feel like it was worth me gambling, because if I get the wrong tokens for like only having 1 order, because he can do 1 order and still have decent order control, right?
Sure. Yeah, because
droids
and everything else.
Bounce 5 orders across the infantry. They coordinate back onto Kalani. Grievous gets the other order, so then you've got droidicas and tanks. His 1 order went onto a tank because that's got coordinate onto trooper.
Oh, sure. He's had the OM.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think his order pool was like, okay, great. He had pretty good control, and it was awful. And the mistake I made was I didn't strike and fade all 3 fluttercraft turn 1. I got greedy thinking that I can probably weather the storm of a couple of shots. That it shouldn't kill me. But it wasn't outside the bell curve for like getting 1 down. But yeah, 1 fluttercraft went down turn 1 and I'd taken out a B1 unit. So I was still only 1 activation down going into turn 2 rather than being 2 down. But yeah, I just started trying to clear out as many of his B1s as I could to get his activations down, get his objective control down, because as soon as he has to think about positionings for Grievous, Koani, and the tanks and the droidicas for actually playing objectives rather than just killing.
Right.
All my stuff can be anywhere. Right? I don't care if it's a battle shield unit claiming an objective or Yoda. It's all fine.
Yeah.
Then this is the first time where I've been like, oh, look at that. You killed a Wookiee. It's coming at you. Just push them forwards. Because all I want to do is kill B1s.
Yep.
But yeah, I
grab those droids' arms and rip them off.
Yeah, I got my Wookiee. I put the 2 scanners this time. I did put them on battle shield squads, which I'd been remiss to do before. So I kind of went and got one of them locked into combat, and he kind of charged more B1s in, and it's like, whatever, I'm going to dodge, put my battle shield in armor mode, and just I'm going to sit here safely outside my deployment zone for the entire game. My mission is now accomplished. I'll kill droids, because you can't claim objectives with this unit because they're fighting me, and I'm doing my job.
Yep.
And like... I think it was 3 models when I charged. It was like it did 5 wounds from a tank, and I kind of got them in, and they kind of lasted the entire game. Just stood the tank in, B1s flailing at them uselessly.
Yep.
I got another unit of Wookiees into one of his units of droidicas. Like, oh, if he come, I had that mental line in my head where I'd gone like, this is a move here. That's where I can charge. As soon as he's at that line, it's goal time. And he put a droidica past that line, and it was like, get the Wookiee straight in there, wipe out the unit.
Because shields don't work in melee.
No, they don't.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Nice shields you have. Too bad they don't matter.
Yeah. Yoda got his turn of jumping through the center to kind of be in the mix. He was the one who actually finished off a unit of droidicas, and kind of he landed outside of the objective range, which was upsetting. And then Grievous came and tried to kill him. Which I was surprisingly unbothered about. I feel like Grievous has to be really lucky to kill Yoda.
Sure.
Sure. And then I played the 1 pip Wookiee command card.
Okay.
Because I wanted to go
first.
I'm
not familiar with what it does.
It doesn't matter what it did. It did nothing. It was a 1 pip. Because
it's a 1 pip. Yeah.
I think when I played it, Chewie was dead. He took a barrage shot to the face. After being a huge letdown, but we'll come back to that. Just those tanks, man. Those tanks. Well, yeah, basically, Yoda issued the order onto the unit. So they don't get any tokens because it's got to be a Wookiee HQ to issue the order. But it let them go first, which let the unit of Wookiees charge in and kill Grievous.
There you go.
Because Yoda done some damage, and it was like, well, Yoda's got 2 wounds left, Grievous has got 2 wounds left. Like, yeah, but there's a full unit of Wookiees coming at him. So, it didn't like those 8 dice hitting him. 6 surge in black, 2 surge in red. Puts paid to Grievous pretty easily. Despite I didn't realize he was 8 wounds. Man, I've been sleeping on him. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Though Grievous is a monster. The game I played against him, everything diving in quick, and then it's like, oh, he's got a lot of wounds. He's full immune pierce now instead of just like melee pierce. Like he's cheaper now. Like Grievous is
Grievous is good. It felt good.
Yeah, he's pretty decent.
But yeah, so my low rolling range Wookiees, I got the relentless turn on them from Yoda. So it was, we're going to aim, we're going to trigger offensive push, we're going to move, so 2 aims, into range 3 of Grievous to shoot the ballcaster, so 7 white, 1 red. I got 3 hits. So Grievous dodges 1. I'm like, oh. I feel like I did like 1 wound or something crazy.
Sure.
Yeah, it was real bad. Wasn't good. I got my ballcaster unit on the other side shooting into a tank. I got like 8 hits, and he made out a ton of saves. I think I needed. There was one turn. I think it was turn 3. I was on par to kill it. It should die this turn. He had 2 wounds left. It would have been 3 wounds left. It was 3 wounds left, and I was shooting him with Chewie and a Fluttercraft.
Yep.
To do 3 wounds, and it's impact 1, pierce 1. So all I needed was 1. Ouch. I needed 1 natural crit or 1 surge on Chewie's dice.
Yep.
To kind of, but yeah, I couldn't get it. Left it on 1. So I had to kill it next turn, which is why Chewie died, because the tank was like, nah. Just double barraged into Chewie.
Not having any of that. Boom, boom.
Yeah. I was like, well, look, man, if you'd have rolled a surge instead of a crit, maybe you'd have killed him. Because he's got critical 1. No, he's got critical 1 on his ballcaster. He still surges to hit, but it's critical 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, that tank it felt like your AATs from that game we played. It didn't matter in the end, but it would have been a lot easier if it had gone down a turn earlier.
Right. Or it's just saving just a little above the curve.
Yeah. I managed to I strike and faded to get one of my Fluttercraft behind his tank.
Oh yeah.
So it was compulsory move, pivot, shoot, strike and fade, pivot, move. So I was then behind him, like almost base to base behind him, like, look, man, I'm in your rear now. I'll take that weak point. It's all fine.
Yeah, because there's weak point 2 on those guys.
I think it
is 2 rear.
Simon told me it was weak point 1. Should have been dead then.
Yeah, it's 2 rear.
Oh, I feel cheated. That's fine. I killed it eventually. Yeah, but those tanks, I just couldn't get through because my dice pools are so small. Armor was doing work. Another game where my armor from my battle shields did nothing. It definitely feels like a trap. Even in the combat against the droids, either all missed or just rolled a crit.
Right.
So
that's something with B1s, especially. They either roll a lot, they roll nothing, or they just roll a couple of crits. It's really weird.
Yeah, but it's like it's definitely observer bias or whatever. But like,
yeah,
that should be the perfect time once you're locked in combat for multiple rounds against multiple units. That shield being down should pay dividends, right? Just 1 or 2 hits falling off every turn. Not a single hit cancelled to armor in the entire game. Because it's like the tank, I'll take the impact, please. So I don't get the armor.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So like I don't know whether it's just the people I'm playing against, but every time I deploy it, they always feel like more of a liability than a help. Oh,
interesting.
Yeah, I want the extra body. I don't feel like the long what's it called? The range 4 gun, a suppressive one.
Yeah,
the long gun. I don't feel like it does enough to make me want to take it over the Battle Shield. Because the Battle Shield helps them in the role that I want them in. Like the 2 red is what I'm paying for effectively.
Right.
I want the extra body and the 2 red dice. All of the other text is just irrelevant, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting. I thought it was over, and Simon got some good plays in to kind of make it tighter than I thought it was going to be. I'd strike and faded a Fluttercraft back right miles away into my corner, and he kind of just got range 4 of it with the tank and took it out. Kalani finished off another one. My last Fluttercraft, which was it had come back around from being behind his tank contesting his bunker to come back and claim my own.
Right.
So the squad that was contesting it had moved up. Obviously, claiming it with the special forces is better than claiming it with the Fluttercraft. But that turn meant that neither one of us was going to have enough time to blow up a bunker to get the extra points. It was just going to be the static scoring model. And I think I'd been 1 point up each time, and then I got his tank when it finally went down was one of his carriers, and Grievous was the other one. So the turn I killed Grievous.
Oh, so you got the bonus 2.
Yeah, I got the bonus 2 from killing Grievous because I killed it with the unit that was holding mine, and that kind of made it over as a competitive game. I don't think we played out turn 5. We kind of just talked through, is there a way for him to come back and actually win, or are we done?
Right.
And I think it was 11-7 was the kind of score we settled on.
Yeah, that's what you sent me.
Yeah, I didn't get it through to the final, like hit the 12 points, but I could have been closer.
Sure.
If Yoda would have
impact 2 weak point.
If Yoda could have just got to the other side of the Droidica to be claiming that objective, I would have eventually had enough where I scored it. But yeah, I mean, score-wise, I suppose Chewie would have still been alive. But yeah, score-wise, I don't feel like it made that much difference. It was set up that I felt pretty much in control for the vast majority of the game. I was kind of like, just don't over-index on the tanks. They're going to shoot 4 times. It's going to be 4 red dice 4 times into whatever he's picking to shoot at. Grievous, I knew that he'd get a charge and do some damage, but then I'd probably kill him.
Sure.
The Droidicas were the most concerning part of it, just because they can put down a decent number of dice, suppressive. But I was that focused on just getting to combat with them, and like at some point, if they're moving forward to threaten me, I will be running through them anyway. So it's not like I had to go out of my way to kill them.
Right.
Kalani was surprisingly annoying. Again, she did decent damage to my Fluttercraft, just consistently rolling crits to not let me have my cover save. But yeah,
it's interesting because Kalani doesn't
I know.
crit at all.
I know.
It's I'm
aware. I'm aware. Kalani was annoying.
I mean, between that and sharpshooter.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah. But no, it was a good game. Really interesting. I definitely would have kept one footer on the table had I strike and faded all 3 of them turn 1. So I would have gone in at parity for turn 2. And positional wise, I wouldn't have been disadvantaged.
Sure.
I did recover on them to get it back as well, because you have those turns where I don't really need the aim token, especially if I'm shooting a tank. Like the aim token's irrelevant, right? I'm gonna get one as long as I get one paint on my 4 dice.
Yeah.
I'm doing the wound. 2 wounds is nice, but I tend to just never expect 2 wounds from them into red dice armor.
Sure.
So I kind of did my compulsory, got my shot lined up, take the shot, recover, and then I can strike and fade again in a later turn. So,
there you go.
Yeah. What you don't want to do, just for pointers, is you don't want to move, recover, shoot, strike, and fade.
Okay.
Because it's pointless, right? You'd just move, shoot, and then you'd move if you needed to move, or if you're now safe because you killed what you were shooting, you can recover at that point.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
I was. It's a Futtercraft order of operations thing, right? Where that game I was saying a few shows ago that I really enjoy. Oh, there's an extra layer to it now. There's another thing to think about, but yeah, I used Yoda's guidance pretty well this game. It's the first time I've used it since he took away my guidance relentless shooting.
Sure.
But that was just getting the Wookiees further up the table. Just guys, just move. Just keep going. It's okay.
Just go.
Yeah. Don't stress.
Yep.
See, I feel like I'm getting better with the list. 20 points back on Yoda is good. I still think it needs more, but it's hard to say, right?
Yeah.
And until I start playing in tournaments or something.
Wookiees need something.
Yeah.
I think if you get some more points off the Wookiees, then maybe you'd probably be all right.
Yeah. Maybe both. Maybe the upgrades need to come down on them a little bit. Maybe that's where you help them.
Something. Yeah.
Because I don't feel like I'd be sad if every Wookiee squad you saw was a 4 Wookiee squad.
Sure.
I don't know that I'd be sad.
In some form.
Yeah. Like, if it was that cheap that there was no point not taking it. But especially with a long gun. Like, if a long gun was... What it was about...
A budget option.
Yeah. Like, 20 points for a long gun. Like... Then you have to seriously consider it, right? Because it's just so cheap, but it doesn't really play into the play style of what you're trying to do.
Right.
So, yeah, and I know I've said this before, but I really wish that the dice pools were reversed for the ranged Wookiees shoot guns and the noble fighters guns. So noble fighters are double black in combat and black white for shooting out to range 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Kashyyyk Defenders are black white in combat, double white for shooting.
Yeah.
So I wish that the combat ones should be black, white, white.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And the ranged one should be black, white, black, white.
I see. Interesting.
Because I feel bad every time I take this unit. They look cool, and I do it so that I have a unit that's different.
Sure.
But it serves... I suppose...
Purpose.
Yeah, like I said, when it high rolls, it feels great. When I get 3 hits with 2 aim tokens and targeting scopes, it feels like I've put 113 points into not a lot.
Right.
Because it's not like that's an expensive unit, right? And I feel like it should be more
a premium unit.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, if I'm in that whining territory now. I genuinely don't know. So feel free to tell me in the comments if I'm just whining or if I'm wrong. But I just feel like
a lot of points.
Yeah. And it's a Wookiee unit. They are good. But the arc unit that's going to put out a hell of a lot more fire than that, more consistently with better dice pools, is cheaper. Even after its points upgrade, its points cost increase. Right. This is sweeper cell territory, right? 113 points.
Well, it is now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I can genuinely say that I think I'd rather have sweeper cell in every instance. Obviously, in the Wookiee list, it's fine. I'll take it because I don't have sweeper cell. I do have ARC troopers. You know what I mean. I'll play to my my disadvantage and take the unit that I like thematically. But
sure, 100%.
For internal balance wise, I don't even think noble fighters are that bad. I think, and I feel like we'll get there when we get onto main topic. But Kashyyyk Defenders specifically are in a really bad place, I feel. I think that's the unit that needs the help most.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I do know. I want a black-white dice pool instead. But
I would imagine if they change it, it's not going to be the dice pool.
No, I know. But that's the only thing I can think of. But luckily, it's not my job to think of it.
True.
Yeah.
I would not want to be a game developer. I enjoy playing the game. I feel like if I had to develop it, I probably wouldn't enjoy playing it as much.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it just because the guns look so cool. Tell me,
they do look cool.
The Wookiee guns look so cool, and they're just bad.
They have a kind of a Jules Verne like steampunk aesthetic to it.
It's so
like all of the Wookiee
It's such a cool looking unit, and there's no way. Can you imagine playing this at 72 points? Hey, I'm going to run my Wookiees round with my 6 white dice. Yay, 72 points. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like you can
run. The B1 squad is running around at 38 with 6 white dice.
I mean, and I've got 9 wounds, non-surging white saves. Sure. They've got 6.
Yep.
And it's like, just, I don't know. Yeah, okay, that's enough of me whining about Kashyyyk Defenders, because it definitely is whine territory now.
Yep. Well, main topic then, shall we?
Well, I do have one more before we move on. So,
all right.
Azera, you can feel free to jump into the comments and tell me what I'm wrong about Kashyyyk Defenders. You won't, because you're all cowards, and I'm definitely right anyway, so it's fine. What?
Called out.
Yep.
Come at me, bro. Well, by me, I mean Kris.
Yeah.
So, don't at me.
Nobody answered the call from last episode with We and Fewer Will to come up with a paint scheme for his rebels. So, not sure about that.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm a fan of Dazzle Cam of some description. Once upon a time, there was it was a purple, blue, like green. No, it was purple, pink, and blue, like that really vibrant alien Felucia type of thing, but more like pinks, blues, and purples. And then they did a like dot camo on all of the Rebel Trooper jackets and stuff like that.
Yeah, all the smocks and everything. Yeah.
Is a flashbang camo if I ever they put the dazzle in dazzle cam, that's for sure.
I want to see really this is very, very tricky because it kind of leans into something, but I would love to see a digital camo but in just gradient white to black. Because then you get to sell all of the variety of your popping colors all come from the skin tones from all of the different alien races and everything. So that's where you get your pops of color. Yeah. I think it would be pretty challenging to kind of pull off. But yeah. But Will, if you want to jump in the comments and tell us what you are doing, if you've already picked, let us know. So yeah, this isn't even like a call to action. This is just Will. Just come and tell us what you're doing, because no one's helping you. It's not my fault. I tried. But yeah, just tell us what you're doing, and I'm in. We can have a chat in the comments, just like we did on the last video. Okay, so that kind of wraps up the officer's mess. Really, I crushed Simon with my Wookiees. Don't want to say again, but you know, come on, you need to step it up. No,
he's gonna counterpick you next. Be careful.
No, Simon was really good. He's a really good opponent. I enjoy playing him. He's pretty laid back, and we kind of. There was another moment in that game where it's like, oh, wait, is this your intention? Because I feel like you need to make sure you're kind of on that side of the object. I can't remember what it was, but it might have been like a range for me being able to charge and stuff like that, where it was like, if you're going to do it, you need to kind of go that way, because you don't
otherwise I'm coming for you.
Yeah, it's clear what the intention is, and it's a legal move, and it would just be just a flat out mistake, right? So I'm always happy to like just make sure you're considering that kind of thing. We kind of do that back and forth in the game, so it's always fun playing Simon. But yeah, on to our main topic of a Combat Skew. That game really brought home, because I don't normally just YOLO over Wookiees, right? I normally try to play them more strategic and kind of controlled, and let Yoda do the legwork and the Fluttercraft. Yeah. And it's very much a combined arms that wins me a game. This game felt like the Fluttercraft shoot stuff and the Wookiee steamroll things, and then we'll see what happens. But
sure,
I wanted to kind of talk about melee skewed lists. If it's something that it's not something that I can massively point to. We've seen a ton of. I know there's units where they are good. I believe there was the phase where before the Rocket Magna Guard got the points increase, that you used to see 2 or 3 Magna squads fairly often in Separatist lists. Obviously, we had Vader Callus Dewbacks for a little while. I believe was fun.
Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily Callus. I mean, Callus has been creeping in now that he's got a massive points drop, and like he's
Vader Dewbacks.
Usually, it's just Vader Dewbacks is kind of been historically what we've been looking at for Empire.
Yeah.
I mean, arcs charge all day, whatever. It's
fine.
They like charging, don't they?
Yeah.
Any Force user obviously is going to be melee heavy, outside of like saber throws or those range 2 abilities like Yoda has. But and Rebels, I think, is probably one that just doesn't have a melee skew, except for Tauntauns. When Tauntauns were very popular, obviously those would be.
The Ram for Matons, and then I don't think that Fleet Troopers are quite, because that's like saying Pikes are a melee skew, right? Because you've got 2 white dice. You just, they can hit you with that whip. They can do some work, but sure. You wouldn't want to build a list around getting them in melee. I feel like the same said with Fleet Troopers.
But
I suppose that they have the Luke, Jedi Luke, Ahsoka Fulcrum. They've got you can take
Sabine
and Mando. Like you've got some decent combat pieces that are gonna, if not outright roll over units, definitely hold them up. I feel like that's a good place to start, right? How you kind of divide units into, this is going to just offensively rip you a new one, compared to, I can put this in and you're going to have to deal with it, or waste your time withdrawing and all of that kind of stuff.
Sure. Well, it's an interesting thought just because of how close the game has gotten, where most engagements are range 2, so most of the range 2 units have had a lot of glow up. And what's the next logical step is just closing that gap even farther. I'm just gonna base you instead of range 2 or range 1 away from you. But it's an interesting place. I'm looking at it more. Again, riots having the massive drop in price and Imperial March. Something I've been looking at very closely. It's like, all right, let's give these guys a shot. What do we need to do to support that? Either insert them into it. I think Imperial March goes a long way. Just being able to make a speed 2, speed 3, like you're flying across the table. But what if you could literally fly across the table at the start?
Yeah.
So lats, door gunners, and thanks to our commenter about putting spotter on them. Didn't even think about that. So I have a list for my league game coming up. So we're at the 800 point level. So I've got 2 lats with TIE pilot, so they can their speed 3 onto the board, and then you get a speed 1 out, and then you make a speed 2, speed 3. I'm pretty sure I'd have to put it on the table, but I'd be willing to bet with those moves I could pretty much get into melee with anything I wanted with those riot squads. Which is going to be interesting. There's a lot of movement shenanigans and other things like that. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. I had to get rid of my offensive push on the Death Troopers to make room for the double spotter. But I mean, 6 points splitting into 3 points seems like a good upgrade. I'm down with getting more sharpshooter on dudes that are shooting and rootin', tootin', shooting. But 2 riots and then Callus are the bulk of my real close range. And then Ion Snows and Lats supporting, with Krennic and Death Troopers being technically present. But I think strike team leader on Callus. So I still get those aims on the Death Troopers, and they're going to be going up with him. Even if they don't get orders, they're getting tokens. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see how it goes. Going with the melee, trying to insert these riot squads, because once they're in melee, they are stubbornly hard to kill. If you have something with Pierce, which I didn't when I played against them in my demo game, then I think they're going to be a little more fragile. But like anything that doesn't have Pierce or lethal, like surging reds in melee, and then being protected from being shot because they're in melee, it's going to be pretty good. And that's kind of the thing. I think in melee units in general, you have to be careful to bubble wrap them, especially if you don't have force push to force the bubble wrap, forcing other units that are either engaged or drawing them back in so that you can't get shot at. Something to keep in mind with these melee units. At least, I say that doing the pundit thing of obvious thing is obvious, but for our newer folks, it's the idea with melee units is to be safe because they can't be shot at by other units.
Yeah.
So general rule of thumb, when you're charging something, charge something that's already activated, or you can move in and try not to kill them, or take a standby, are some of the other options that you have. But the goal is not necessarily do damage immediately when you're charging, is to make sure that unit stays safe as much as possible so that they are more combat effective later in the game.
Yeah.
The longer they're on the table, the longer that they're tar pitting and causing problems for your opponent.
Yeah.
There's a couple different strategies with that. One of them, bubble wrapping, again, tar pitting, trying to get as many people stuck in as possible. Force users are better at it than like infantry based or other units, because you can't draw a second one in. You can only start a melee with one unit. Other units can come in afterwards, but you can only start a melee with one unit.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, kind of having this thought experiment of where I kind of want them to fall, and like looking at different units, and like Vader is like stupidly easy. Oh, Grievous is a good example, right? You can be a little bit more cavalier with a single model. Not like Yoda, maybe not, because he could just die. But like a Grievous probably isn't going to die to one unit shooting, and it doesn't affect his dice pool.
Right.
But if you're running your Riot squad, is it 4 and 2? You've got
it's 4 and 2.
Yeah. Like one or two of those guys go down, and like it kind of starts.
You start feeling it.
Yeah. I feel it with the Wookiees out all the time. Like I can take 2 wounds and I'm laughing. 3 wounds, I'm like, oh, that's
stings of it.
Yeah. And it's the one thing that's kind of put me off doing this experimental droid list for a little while, because like the Magna Guard units, for example, are small. Yeah, I get a bump up to a 4 unit starting, a 4 model starting unit, but I only have 4 wounds.
1 wound apiece.
So I'm taking the whips for a 5-man unit, but like 1 wound, and that's 20% down. 2 wounds.
Yep.
But you know, it's not difficult math.
It adds up quickly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same for my BX droids that I've got in there. I feel like it can get the job done, but as soon as you start taking 2 or 3 wounds, it's a lot less safe. And because of the way the game functions, just because I'm a melee unit and you're not, it doesn't mean that you're not going to kill me in your activation. Because like 1 black isn't an uncommon. Like that's just the unarmed dice, right? It's generally 1 black.
In some cases, it depends on where you're at. So like the stormtroopers, like normal stormtroopers, the same as B1s. It's just bludgeon, which is a white. Not great.
Yeah.
Snow troopers are the same. Bludgeon. I mean, death troopers are CQB. They get 1 red apiece.
Yeah.
But it's all kind of different things.
But like with supersized squads, I would be like, I'm scared of putting 2 Wookiees into a full size, like supersized stormtrooper squad if I haven't done wounds on the way in. Because I live the dream and get 4 hits. That's still like a chunk of dice coming back at me.
Yeah, it's still 5 or
and like their save's better than my
5 or 6,
save,
depending on if they. Yep.
So like, I don't think I win that war of attrition. So it's kind of finding the right targets for them. And as you say, only 1 unit can start a melee. So I feel like if you're going to look at a melee skew, you've got to be able to get multiple units into them.
Yeah. Yep. Also, pick where you want that melee to happen, because you're probably not going to win the attrition, but if you can stop a unit of theirs from scoring because they're tied up with you, like it's a control move rather than necessarily an attrition move. So for a lot of these cases that aren't force users, like force users are just blenders in general.
So but I feel like this might be another one of those things that we assume goes without saying, but probably needs to be said. I feel like melee units generally go counter to the advice you would give of hit units that haven't activated yet. If you're shooting, you want to kill the opposite. With a melee unit, you want to pick that early activation and pile into it because they're not withdrawing. but not repositioning. So if you engage from the opposite side to a point of interest, you're dragging them away from the point of interest. Try to never engage with unit leader, so that you have to pull them out.
Yep.
All of that kind of stuff, and then there's no reaction to it until next turn, and that's where you get. So my melee skewed experimental droid list has. I'm going to count Kraken as a melee unit, but it's 12 activations. He's
definitely melee focused.
Yeah, it's 12 activations, and 7 of them are melee focused.
Right.
So I've got Kraken with improvised orders, tenacity, environmental gear, just to help him move.
Yep.
2 units of B1s with the E5S, a sniper, and then HQ uplinks, so they can trigger their own coordinates.
Yep.
Then we have 2 units of BX series droid commandos with Dioxis mines, Into the Fray, Vibro swords, and impact grenades for a chunky 105 points.
All up in your grill on those weapons. Jeez.
Yep. I'll happily get those into melee with you. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Nope. Stay away. Stay back there, please. Thank you.
Yeah. And then I've got 4 units of prototype assassin droid Magnus.
Okay.
So it's the electro whip in all of them. Into a fray again, because these ones don't surge on attack or defense. And then impact grenades again. So 91 points for 5 red save. It's what? In melee. Yeah, in melee, it's what? 2 red, 4 black, 4 white. If the entire unit makes it.
Yeah.
They've got surge, but they don't. So we've got charge. They don't surge on attack or defense, but they've got into a fray. So maybe a little bit of surge is a treat every once in a while.
Sure.
But yeah, I feel like they can get a little bit of work done, and then 3 units of Droidicas because I need something that's good in the list.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like 12 activations lets me bring those ones on. Bring the BX series commandos, especially on weight, to kind of just capitalize, scout 3, and then I can move. And they've got charge now. So if I'm playing something like Breakthrough, this is probably in combat turn 1.
Right. Yeah, it's the same type of thing with me moving up my guys in the lats. It's just cruise missile riot squads is going to be the goal.
I do have comments once we get to kind of, especially when we talk about you expanding it to 1,000. I do have thoughts, but we'll kind of go. The reason I think the BXs work is because they are self-deploying, if that makes sense. They get to move themselves on.
Sure.
So I'm 12 activations. One of them should be moving last.
Right.
Maybe 2. For you have to bring a lat on, and then they come out.
Sure.
So they're on the table, and your opponent gets an activation. And then you've got to pick, well, is my other lat coming on? Or is this unit trying to make combat?
Right.
So I'll
have to be careful with that, to be sure.
Yeah, because you're not going to have a list that's got like 14 activations to get above the curve kind of thing. But
well, I could retool it and just go for some spam, but
I mean that's where it's
tricky.
Are you going literally all in on just these riots, and then do they have the legs to pull you through most matchups?
Yeah, probably not. Like they're definitely better, but it's more of an experiment to see how they do, and then how the lats do now, and things like that. I'm just trying a bunch of stuff and seeing what sticks.
So the thing I think,
but no, I don't think going all in is going to be a good idea. I think it's going to be something that will have to be dealt with, and then the rest of the list will do the lifting from there.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think that what you'll find,
kind of like an opening salvo,
is that you're going to trim down the lats. I mean, let's look at the list now for you. You're at 799, 9 activations.
Yep.
If it were me, I would add in 3 dewbacks immediately. Right, and then you're probably at 1,000.
How much is a dewback though? Let's see. There's 70 points a piece, so I would need to trim 10 points. But yeah, if I wanted to go melee on this,
I would drop one of the sets of shells off the lats to make room.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably going too much, but I pretty much wanted these guys to be gunships and trying to make a threat saturation. It's like, okay, are you going to try and hit my riots? Are you going to try and hit these lats? Because these lats there's a lot of dice coming out of the lats. Yeah. So each turn they're putting out, let's see, there's 4. And then depending on which shell, it's going to be, 7 or 8 dice plus the door gunners.
Yeah.
Ideally. So, each one of those is going to be pumping out 12.
Yeah, 12 I feel like they can do work, and you are right. And the riot troopers, the riot control squads, I always struggle with what to call this unit. I think riot troopers is probably where I'm gonna land.
They're listed as Stormtrooper Riot Squad, so they are Stormtroopers.
Yeah,
but Riot Squad, Riot Control, right? Whatever, riots.
Like, if your opponent doesn't shoot at them, you're happy. If it does shoot at them, you're happy. So that's the unit doing its job, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, I think if you're gonna skew, like, I'd maybe look at changing Callus to an Inquisitor and run 2 dewbacks. Yeah, there's a lot of scope to play around.
Yeah. Well, I'm not trying to go super heavy into the melee necessarily as much as.
No, it's because what do you mean you don't want 7 melee units out of your 12 activations? What's wrong with you?
I mean, I could. I mean, Callus is just as good in melee as he is shooting. So that was the theory with that. And then having him with Strike Team Leader taking the Death Troopers with him. And I went with DTF to get the extra wound, and it was cheaper. But, Death Troopers are throwing a red apiece. So if they make it in as well, like, there are no slouches in melee.
Yeah.
But, I mean, let's be real. Death Troopers are much better shooting than they are at melee. So they want to get to range 2 and just open up. I don't know. This list is big into experimentation. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I want to throw stuff at the wall. It's evaluating, hey, how are the lats doing? How are the Riot Squad doing? Callus, Strike Team Leader. Let's try out the new toys. Let's try Snow Troopers with Imperial March. The Snow Troopers with Imperial March and an Ion cost more than the Riot Squad with the KX droids and Imperial March.
Yeah.
It's not by much, but it's like,
yeah,
interesting.
I do like the list. I'm not sure on what 9-ax is like at 800 points anymore. Like, literally, my brain doesn't work at those levels.
Going back to 800 has been a little bit of a weird thing. But I can easily get to, with a little bit of massaging, when we get back to 1,000, this is a 12-act list without too much fuss. Question is, do I go with some dug-in shores as my backline fire base, or do I do dewbacks and go farther in on the melee skew?
Yeah.
Don't know.
So kind of going back into a more generic melee conversation, just to kind of wrap this up a little bit, because I'm sure we must be approaching time now anyway.
Probably.
How do you feel about, obviously, the balance between melee units versus the lightsabers? Generally, I've found... I'll just frame my thought a little bit more, sorry.
Yeah.
I've found
go for it.
One unit of Wookiees isn't going to kill an Anakin or isn't going to kill a Force user. If I get 2 full units in, that's probably the model done. And I feel like the same can be said for the Magnus and BXs, who definitely feel like really offensive-based melee units. One of them is probably not going to be enough to one-shot or like take down a character on their own. So it feels like an inefficient use of points. But on the flip side of that, you then can't necessarily use your Force user to do what they were going to do. Because if you do, I'm going to kill you.
Sure. That line backing type of defensive countercharge, essentially, unit.
I've not played a game with the Wookiees yet where a Force user's charged in and then hasn't died. The Separatist game where we played Recover Research with against Dooku. But that was very much I shouldn't have allowed that game to happen in the state it did. And I still had the potential to do damage to Dooku and low rolled pretty badly with my 2 units going into him.
Sure.
So, if I played that game again, I'd be a little bit more confident. But generally, people aren't running into my 12 wound Wookiee units, taking them off the table, and then not dying for it.
Right. I think Wookiees is a different conversation just because they have 12 wounds in general.
Yeah.
Running a 4-man squad, it's going to be hard for a Jedi to get in there and just do that many wounds in one shot. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But an average unit, I mean, it's a cost and activation. If you're looking for activation advantage, you have to go more for the budget option.
Yeah.
The core, the special forces. But force push, assuming you have force push on a unit, is going to have a much bigger impact potentially on the game, just as a big swinging pivot point in your game. But with Jedi, you have to be in melee, where a lot of these melee units, they can still shoot. So they're a little more flexible while being cheaper. And so you're looking at, I'm going to use riot squads. You got 2 riot squads to, 2.5 riot squads to an Anakin, right?
Yeah.
Which one would you rather have? Depends on the situation. So you have to manufacture a situation on the table in some form or fashion to get your value out of either unit.
Yeah.
So probably, generally your melee, it's, at least from what I've seen and experienced, and maybe mine is more limited, it's very similar to when you have 2 different heavies or 2 different tanks. You're not shooting the other tank necessarily with your tanks. You're trying to attrit the objective grabbers, the objective holders. You're trying to attrit the other small guys. You're not going big guys punching against the big guys and then the little guys go it. No, you're trying to take your heavy hitters to get rid of their weak units. You're doing a rock, paper, scissors on the battlefield, and you don't want to do your rock against their rock all the time.
And so once you get into that, how more important is it to have Pierce on your attacks in melee then?
Oh, it's pretty noticeable when you don't have it. I mean, even just having lethal over nothing in the intro game that I played was noticeable. When Kraken got in there, Kraken probably should have had any business jumping into those riot squads. Really shouldn't have jumped in there, but I had 5 red dice. And I'm like, yeah, let's go whack them. And then, it's 3 blocks and a surge. And it's like, oh, I basically did nothing. Okay, well, here's my lethal aim. I guess I do too.
Yeah.
Out of all of that, and it's just kind of like,
yeah,
not having Pierce, is a big deal. But
that's what I'm looking at, right?
I don't know.
My dice pools are fine if I'm going into Stormtroopers. I've got the commandos with a rainbow from the mine, and then I think it's 4 in the squad, so it'll be 4 red and 4 white on top of it. So 5 red, 4 black, 5 white.
Yeah.
So
I shouldn't have overwhelming dice at a certain point.
Yeah,
right?
I surged to hit, so probably getting around 8 hits. I feel relatively comfortable at that number, 8, 9 hits.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm probably killing
50-50 on the
killing 4 or 5.
Yep.
That's fine into a normal squad. That's fine into a Jedi.
A double size.
Yeah. It's fine into a single model, but into these double size squads, I feel like it's going to be difficult. The Magnas get worse because I don't have the red. I've got 2 red from the whip, but then it's just 2 red, 4 black, 4 white. So I feel like the Magnas, and they don't surge to hit either. So
it
doesn't feel good.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's just like, melee is a little complicated, and it's something that is more situational, I think, than something you build a strategy around. Or you have to build your strategy around creating those situations where the melee is the better option.
So I think the way I win games with this list isn't necessarily. It's like the Wookiees, right? The game I just played and spoke about. It's the first game where I felt like I was rolling over units to try and get the win. Normally, it's very positional, and I feel like that's what a melee list lets you do. It lets you play a positional game better than your opponent, unless they have force push.
Sure.
And that's why force push is 40 points, right? Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, as it should be, because it's a very game warping ability, and so you should have to pay for it.
I agree. I feel like that kind of rounds out a decent conversation about it. Obviously, as we get more experience, I'm definitely all I've got left to build for this experimental droids is the Magnas. Everything else is built, ready to go. So I can kind of get that on the table at some point. Yeah, building your riots now. I feel like we'll have a little bit more experience with it. But if any of the listeners have played some funky melee skewed lists, I'd love to hear about your experiences on it. Because I generally think that it's an interesting area that you can explore more now than we ever could in the old Legion.
100%. Yeah, the way the objectives are much more close and in your face lends itself much more to the melee units. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Now it's time to try it. I'm going to try it. Why not?
Yeah. And I expect that I'll try this experimental droid list. This would be better if it was Dooku and just in a normal Separatist list.
Yeah.
Or Grievous, or one of the characters that isn't Kraken to be my big heavy hitter. So that's going to be interesting to try. But I want to see why these IG-100 Magna Guard prototype assassin droids exist. They have to exist for a reason, right? So let's see what it is. I want to get them on the table and kind of stress test the hell out of them.
Let's find out. I'm trying all the new cards. We're gonna we're getting Strike Team Leader in this one, Imperial March on a couple dudes, and then Spotter Uplink and Door Gunners on Lats. We're gonna give it a shake. We'll see what happens. Imagine
being able to use any of the new cards in your list. Oh, big sad for me and my experimental droids. I'm sure I'll get something in Q1 or Q2 whenever that pack's supposed to release.
Yep.
It's my own fault for only playing Battle Forces. Okay, so you complained at me last show for not giving you the opportunity. So I'm going to lay you up for whatever Star Wars quote you want, and then we can close out the show.
Oh, I forgot about this. I've played myself.
you were one who was like, you didn't give me the opportunity. I had loads of quotes lined up.
Oh, now I've forgotten all of them. Oh boy.
Got a bad feeling about this.
So something about, deep subsurface foliated calcite or something. I don't know. That calcite ain't gonna mine itself. We're gonna go find it.
All right, everyone. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you all in a couple of weeks.